You've selected a breed, you found a breeder, you picked out your lambs, you got all the stuff that you need to bring them home, but where are you going to put them? When bringing home your lambs for the first time, it's in your best interest as well as the best interest of the lambs to put them behind something that is a physical barrier. Portable electric netting is awesome. It's really great for everyday use under normal conditions. However, when you're bringing your lambs home for the first time, chances are they're going to be nervous, a little bit spooked from having been transported from their previous home to their new home. That is a stressful experience for them, and they tend to be a little bit spooked when they're in an unfamiliar environment. Portable electric fencing and polywire, as you see over here, these are psychological barriers. They deter livestock from going through them by the electrical pulse that they deliver. However, if you have an upset animal, a hungry animal, or an animal looking to mate, these barriers are just that, psychological. They can be defeated. Livestock also require training for using electric fence. They have to learn that the fence is electrified and stay away from it. Your lambs that you're bringing onto your property may not have that knowledge. They may not be coming from an environment where they've been trained to electric fencing. To overcome these obstacles, it's best to use a physical barrier such as a cattle panel or some other type of physical fencing to contain your sheep when they first arrive to your property. The cattle panel corral is a strong physical barrier which will contain the potentially upset livestock and really reduce the likelihood of them escaping or injuring themselves. It also creates an opportunity for you to train them to using electric fencing. There are 6 primary components to the cattle panel corral. Of course, there's the cattle panel itself, T-posts, metal clips that secure the cattle panel to the T-post, T-post insulators, a device to secure the gate, and polywire electric strand. Each cattle panel is 16 feet long and 50 inches tall. The cost of them varies by your location, but on average they're between $20 and $25 a piece. A cattle panel requires 3 T-posts in order to keep it stable, 1 on each end and 1 in the middle. This corral that I built is 2 cattle panels long by 1 cattle panel wide, making it 32 by 16. The gate system works by having this cattle panel on the T-post and this one not affixed at all. What's securing it is this spring lock right here. For access inside the corral, simply open the spring lock and pull the gate back. The interior perimeter of the corral is lined with a single strand of electric polywire. It's important for the polywire to not be touching the T-post or the cattle panel, otherwise the electricity will be conducted through and you'll have a lot of grounding out. The polywire is supported and offset from the T-post and cattle panel by a T-post insulator. These come in different sizes. This particular one is a 5-inch offset. The concept of this design is with the polywire at nose height, the lambs will be tempted to come check the wire out. They'll touch their nose to it and receive a shock. It will cause them to retreat. After 2 or 3 shocks, they generally learn that polywire is not friendly. It's not fun to touch that. Once the lambs learn that, they will be fine using portable electric fencing or polywire in a paddock shift rotational grazing system. It's really important that you do not line up the vertical pieces with the T-post. They need to be offset so there's enough room for you to get your insulator in there. If the vertical part of the cattle panel is lining up with the T-post, it's very difficult, next to impossible, to get your insulator on there. I learned that lesson the hard way. As you can see here, I was not able to get this insulator on here all the way because the cattle panel was in the way. I actually had to add an extra T-post on this corner for the very same reason. I could not get an insulator here because I did not do the cattle panel correctly. So I added this T-post here so I could get an insulator on there. The corral should serve as the home for your lambs for the next week or so, or as long as it takes for you to be confident that they've learned and respect a portable electric fencing system. During this time, you should be really figuring out your rotational grazing system that you're going to put up. This allows you time to work out your fencing and your paddocks. The corral is where all of your stuff is that you've acquired for the lambs. Your shelter, the waterer, your feed trough for depositing hay, mineral feeder, all these things are going to be in your corral. If you decide to make a rotational grazing system with a laneway, your corral can actually serve as a home base.